Welcome to Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore, hosted by Tom and Griffin.
We are your hosts, Tom and Griffin.
Unfortunately, our illustrious friend, Dr. Chris Chismore, is away on his important research and unable to host a podcast this week.
But fear not, dear listener, because he has left us in charge, and we are going to try to do a really good job of a podcast.
This week, Dr. Chismore has asked us to talk about
Classic rock. Imagine, dear listener, and dear viewer.
Welcome to you. You've been trying to view for quite a long time, and now you're finally achieving it.
Yes, congratulations. Now close your eyes. Imagine yourself in a field. The year is 1969.
Oh.
This is a field in a little town in New York, and you can smell the faint smell of food being cooked and burnt rope emanating through the air. Things are a little bit hazy, but among all the tactile smells and the physical sensations that you can hear and taste in the air, there's just a general change. There's progress being made in this time, in this place.
Yes, and you're surrounded by thousands of people in this field. And while there are some faint odors of burning rope, potentially, we're saying that's marijuana smells like burning rope?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
Yeah, burnt rope.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, that was, okay.
Interesting. There's also quite a strong smell of body odor.
Yes.
Because these are stinky people.
These are very stinky people. Everyone has been here for a few days. We're living off the earth. We're appreciating each other.
And you're coming to in this crowd, and as you're kind of seeing all this, suddenly there's a bit of an uproar. And the crowd sort of crushes forwards towards a large structure at the front. It's some sort of stage apparatus.
Yeah.
Speakers and lights. And there's, let's say, 4 little guys come out.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, my God, where am I? What's happening? Who are these guys? Something crazy seems about to happen.
Are these politicians?
And in a way, they are political.
Yes. But they're political, but they're not politicians.
Yes.
But and you say, are they maybe some sort of circus performers? In a way.
Yes.
In a way they are, but
and some of them, yes.
They do not work at the circus.
They do not work at the circus. Some of them have done. Well, there's a documentary featuring some of them in a circus. I think it's a circus-themed doc, but more on that later. I couldn't help myself. Remembered one thing I know about one of the subjects and got really excited. And a noise starts coming from the stage, and the people start going crazier and crazier around you.
Yeah.
And it's this loud cacophony, and it's distorted guitars and loud drumming. None of this beautiful jazz drumming you're so used to, dear listener. And you feel something in your bones, and it's just somehow, even though the noise is so loud and cacophonous, it feels right.
Yeah, it feels so right. It feels
classic. Oh, sorry.
It feels a little groovy.
I thought we were both about to say classic. I was so excited again.
Feels a little groovy, a little psychedelic, a kind of classic feeling. Because you're listening to Classic Rock.
Welcome to Woodstock. 1969 is where you've been.
Yeah, all the people around you who smell and who have very sinewy bodies. The men have all very sinewy bodies and are ripped, and the women are have pointy nipples because you're at Woodstock. It's 1969, and you can open your eyes if you're a viewer.
Now
if you
open your eyes.
Open your eyes. Okay, so what we're talking about today, what Chris wants us to talk about this week, is classic rock.
Yes.
So welcome to the episode.
Welcome to the episode. The thing that I got so excited about just now, earlier, about the circus, was I think is it the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus? Was that a thing?
Sure.
There's some concert film with the Rolling Stones and The Who. And I got really happy because I saw that and I liked it, and The Who really rock it out in that documentary. And I think the Rolling Stones end up looking like children playing with their father's instruments. But Pete Townsend, Roger Daltrey,
Yes.
Keith Moon,
and can he get the fourth?
Doug Entwistle.
John
Entwistle.
That's pretty good.
Really pretty good for having nothing. They're all cranking it. They are
Yes.
rocking so hard in that. It was, yeah. Anyways, we should also say quickly, this is a take 2.
This is a take 2. We recorded classic rock. We tried to record it a couple weeks ago, and it went poorly.
And not just because of how mostly I was talking,
Yeah, it was.
but also technically.
Yeah, technically,
it was bad.
Those technical difficulties distracted Griffin. Griffin's distraction distracted me, and it wasn't a good episode. And we said, we should come back and film classic rock and re-record it. So that's what we're doing now.
And we're filming it this one episode. We're only filming this one episode just to keep me honest. Mm-hmm. So that I'll talk better.
Like, what do you like about classic rock?
Me, I like classic rock. It does feel immediately, I think, it's called classic rock because, in the 80s, some radio station maybe, or like some music PR person was like, we got to package the 60s and 70s and sell them to the people who are getting older and make it, like, this is now a genre, is the old rock, first wave rock and roll music. I mean, not first wave, but like, look, what you think of as classic rock. And that's why it's called that. But I think also, it just feels immediately, it clicks, it feels like it gets to something human.
Yes.
The rocking and the rolling, you hear Jimi Hendrix wailing on the guitar. He's singing Purple Haze, and you're 12 years old, and somehow everything makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What I read about it, which I had never seen this put on the page. This was just on Wikipedia, but they were called out that, like, generally classic rock is played by all white guys in 4/4 time.
Yeah, that seems
and
right.
I was like, yeah, that's pretty true. Like, it's always a bunch of white guys jamming, with the exception of like Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
And then, like, when they add a woman to like Heart or like Fleetwood Mac, it blows everyone's minds and makes it even better. It
makes it better, but then the guys can't stop trying to fuck the lady.
Yeah.
Or they're just sort of using her for her incredible voice, and they don't really, she doesn't really matter to the boys at all.
Yes.
They're often quite bad men.
Yeah, often bad men.
And I'd say that was true of classic rock, and I think it's true of rock just through and through. I'm not breaking any new ground here, but those are generally bad guys.
Yes. Indie
rock, they found a different way to be bad.
Yeah.
It's the same, I'd say it's generally the same type of guy, but they found a different way to be writing the songs and a different way to be bad, which is generally never calling women back.
Yes.
In classic rock, they were just committing full-on sexual assault.
Yes.
And, I'd say darker.
Yeah.
Why'd I start talking about that?
That's okay, Griffin.
I kind of just came to in the middle of that, and I felt bad.
Yeah. No. It's okay. It's okay. I think what I was trying to say, it was so funny to me to just hear it vocalized, because I'm like, oh yeah, it's almost exclusively white guys and dads who love classic rock.
Yes.
We can't shut up about the Beatles. We can't stop talking about Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, baby.
The Who,
which, I know you don't like that much classic rock. From episode 1, we found out that Griffin hates a lot of classic rock.
We're not going to just recap everything that we said. Well, I guess we are in some way, but we're not going to try to redo the train wreck of the first time we did this. But it's something we did discover as I was talking. It turns out I kind of don't like classic rock. It turns out I despise quite a lot of it. Though I kind of take issue with that. I love The Who. I love Led Zeppelin. Love Jimi Hendrix. Love Fleetwood Mac. Love T-Rex.
T-Rex?
Yeah.
Who?
T-Rex, classic rock. Is T-Rex classic rock?
What's T-Rex? Is he like...
I can't think of... Oh, Jesus. I can't think of a single song, so never mind. It's a band. It was a band. T-Rex is a band. Big Star. Big Star is considered classic rock. Did you know that?
No, I've never heard of Big
is?
Star, no. Nice. Who are these people?
Big Star is a rock band from Memphis, and my dad loved them.
Oh, okay.
They have a song called Holocaust that's a very soft, beautiful song. I'm trying to think of their rockin'. We should have a producer who's Googling for us.
Yeah. That's okay.
We need a
That's
Google
okay.
person.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. One of the things that I like about classic rock is that it's a way for fathers and sons to bond.
It is.
I think
Uncles and son and somebody else's
nephews.
son.
Yeah, uncles and somebody else's son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It says, hey kid, I'm an uncle.
You're someone else's son.
You're not my
my
nephew.
son.
You're not my
nephew.
son.
Yep. You're not my nephew.
Well, uncle's and
I see.
someone else's son.
Yeah.
Your nephew is someone else's son.
Your nephew is someone else's son.
But it's a way for fathers and sons and men to bond with each other. Usually like older white guys to younger white guys. We love to. That's the one thing we can all agree on.
It's got to be so fun having no children myself, but having met them and been one, it's got to be so fun as an adult to like your kid first time hears rock and roll, hears Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
and they're like going nuts. Dad, oh my gosh, have you heard this? Because that's exactly what a kid does, unless
Yeah.
it's like explicitly like, hey son, listen to this. If a kid just finds it organically, the kid's showing it to the parents. That's got to be so fun as a parent to be like, you've just discovered the Who.
Yes.
Wow, buckle up. That's classic bonding.
Yeah. Hey
Father-son
son,
bonding.
you stop whatever
Mother-son
you're
bonding.
doing. You stop whatever you're doing, and you say, "Mommy's gonna sit down. Mommy's gonna listen to the Who with you. Mm-hmm. Mommy's gonna listen to Tommy."
All the way through. Mommy's gonna have a glass of wine and she's gonna listen to Tommy all the way through. And you stay seated on the shag carpet.
You stay.
I got a
put.
shag carpet just for this occasion. You stay put.
Stay put. Mommy's gonna listen to the Who. Stay put.
And she just drinks her glass of wine, stares at you, and waits for you to kind of your head to bob.
Yeah.
And when your head starts bobbing, Mommy grins and she takes a little sip.
And she says, "I met 5 men who could have been your father listening to this kind of music." And then you find out about your mother's sexual awakening. And that's a beautiful thing. Because you're old enough to listen to classic rock. I feel like if you're old enough to appreciate classic rock, I feel like I started appreciating classic rock at like 12, 13, 14. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's the age where it's like, people, you start to come into your own. You're hitting puberty. You're liking adult stuff. You're liking adult music.
You're not listening to Old MacDonald. You're not listening to you're not listening to the Lion King soundtrack on the way to school anymore.
No.
You're asking for another playthrough of The Wall.
Yeah.
On your way to fifth grade.
Fifth grade. Yeah. You say I don't want to hear the fucking Simba talking about growing up anymore.
I'm tired of Nala's love pang ballad.
Yeah, I want to hear David Gilmour talk about getting older on time. I want to hear.
I want to hear David Gilmour talk about losing a friend to schizophrenia.
Yeah, why
that connects with me as a fifth grader.
And as a parent, you're like, oh, my little son, my little boy, he's growing up. He's becoming a man.
He's becoming a man. Hopefully, not a bad man.
Not a bad man.
Not one of the bad men who made the song. This is parents get worried when you want to start picking up a guitar and learning classic rock songs. Yeah. Am I raising an artist? Now I'm scared for him.
Yeah, a lot of guys playing guitar. When I played guitar, I exclusively wanted to play it to learn classic rock. So, yeah, classic rock stuff.
I exclusively wanted to learn it to play "What I Got" by Sublime, because there were guys at summer camp who just like figured it out.
Yeah.
Like while we were hanging out one day, and I thought they were so cool.
Like figured it out in the way that like they were like everyone, and someone was like, "Hey, does anyone know how to play What I Got by Sublime?" And I was like, "No." I mean, guitar tabs existed.
Yeah, but this is summer camp. In what year? 2000, 1999. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It was just it was playing, and somebody had a guitar, and then someone was like, "Oh yeah, let me see." Yeah. I can't remember how it goes. And I just thought that was so fucking cool.
You're like,
And
that's
then
magic.
I was truly like,
Love it.
that seems like, magic. That seems so fun. I want to know how to do that.
Yeah.
I have played guitar off and on for, let's say, 20 years. I couldn't figure out, if you gave me a guitar right now and played what I got, I couldn't figure out how to play that song. That's how, I think, just generally bad at guitar I am.
I could never figure out how to play anything.
If I could figure out how to play a song, boy, I'd be more of a musician. I would consider myself a musician. I think my ears are dumb.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing that I always thought was crazy about classic rock. I think even coming from learning it on the guitar, I was like, oh, none of this stuff is that hard. But what was crazy to me that I was like, oh, but some guy thought of this.
Some guy thought of this.
Some guy thought of this. Some guy was picking it and he was like, for like the Immigrant Song. I'm like,
oh,
not that hard, but it's kind of crazy that like, I could never like think of cool shit like that on the guitar. I mean, I was like 14. I wasn't that smart. I hadn't heard a ton of music, but I was like, damn, it would be sick to like be able to think of like a tasty lick.
Yes.
You know?
I was obsessed for years. Like, boy, what's wrong with my brain? Why can't I think of a good music idea? I was just like so frustrated with like, I want to be able to do it. And I'm sitting here with a guitar. I know generally how to play other people's songs. I can figure that out. And I can't figure it out, but I can mess around. And then I eventually did start making my own music ideas and songs. But it was, it just, for whatever reason, I was obsessed with it, and it was so hard. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah.
And it made it hard to have I was like, eventually obsessed with Radiohead and wanted to be able to come up with songs like Johnny Greenwood and Tom York. And like, surely I should be able to do something like this.
Yeah.
These guys did it, and they were in their 20s when they, did The Bends.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, that's sort of an insane thing to say to yourself.
Yeah, we put a lot of pressure on
to
ourselves.
Create The Bends in my dorm room freshman year.
Yes.
Having played guitar at that point for like 5 years.
Yes.
Which, wish I could do that. There's guys who can do that. I'm just not that naturally musically talented.
I agree. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself when I was learning the guitar to become the next Tom Morello. I loved Rage Against the Machine. I wanted to play guitar like that. And I shouldn't have put so much pressure on myself because one day I realized I'm just not going to be good at this, And I think that's an important lesson that I learned through classic rock. And another thing that I liked about it is that, it's like every single white guy has to go through the classic rock phase. Like,
just damn near.
Yeah.
Just about.
I really don't think I know a single man who is not like, oh yeah, I went through classic rock. I love at least one classic rock band. Like, you cannot escape it.
No.
In America. Or even in the world.
And, it's that pervasive. And then you kind of, at least I kind of rebelled against it. Oh, I hate this actually. Everybody loves it. Oh, boring. And then you mature and you come back around and you say, it's just incredible what those guys were doing.
Yeah.
I'm loving so much of Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. And there is something, universal about it that transcends borders, because it's like, even like, I feel like every time I've like left the country, or like, for example, when I went to Indonesia, it's like you go there, it's like, they don't get, music is like straight to the fucking jugular or intravenously like me do, but you go over there and the guys are like, Led Zeppelin.
Straight to the jugular.
Yeah, straight to the jugular. Straight to the jugular.
Right,
That's
right
what we
in the jugular.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, shoot heroin straight into my jugular.
Just straight into that jugular.
Right here. But yeah, it's like everyone has heard classic rock all over the world, and they're like, yeah, fuck yeah, all we want more Led Zeppelin, or like America, and that's what they know about America. That's what people recognize is like, yeah, great music, Led Zeppelin.
And so much of it
Doors.
was British guys.
Yeah, well, The Who, yeah.
The Who,
that too.
Rolling Stone, Led Zeppelin.
And AC/DC.
Off-brand British guys.
Yeah, off-brand British, yeah.
The other British guys? The Wall.
They're British, yeah.
What do we call them? What's their goddamn name? Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd.
Oh! Woo!
Yes. Well, and that is another great podcast guy take, is to say classic rock is very American, and then
it's all British
most of them are British. The Beatles.
Who are the American guys? The Beatles, right? Forgot about those bastards. The American guys.
Oh, Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones. No, they're British too. God, I'm such an idiot.
Well,
Yeah. See.
Can we say Beach Boys are classic rock?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Beach Boys are classic rock. I
They're
think they
American.
kind of transcended through classic rock at some point too. Because
they were just surf rock at first.
Yeah, surf rock.
Okay, cool.
I think they went into like more prog rock.
Ooh, now you got my ear.
Yeah. Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Easy.
The classic American guy.
American guy. Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Sure.
John Mellencamp.
Never listened to them. Never. I don't think I've listened to a whole album of CCR.
Really?
Never once.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Never heard them. Sure.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
have the one song.
CCR is great.
Okay.
Yeah, CCR
Fleetwood Mac.
is Fleetwood Mac.
Right. Okay. We're back on track. There's
Yeah,
some
we're back on
Americans in the
track.
mix.
Yeah, there are a lot of
really-
Americans.
Well, that was really important for us to figure out on the pod. If we can't figure out how America was somehow doing the right thing on Goober Time with Dr. Chris Chismore, hosted by Tom and Griffin, then we have failed.
Yes, we gotta bring it back to America. But yeah, I think that there is just something about classic rock that truly unites the world, because you hear it and you're like, this is what music is. This is how music should be distorted like this, and like, whoa, it should have some wah to it.
Have you ever been to a classic rock concert?
Yeah, I think I did see Roger Daltrey of The Who.
Okay.
When he was old. Very old. But I've never
That
been
seems
to
marginal to me. That seems like, I don't know if I'm going to count that. I guess it is, but it's
I've seen Skinner, but a lot of them were dead by then.
yeah.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner.
I guess we're too young to have gotten to see. But like, if you AC/DC, did you ever see AC/DC?
Yes, I did see AC/DC. That was an awesome
That seems
concert.
fucking sick.
I saw AC/DC in Jacksonville, Florida, which is a perfect place to see AC/DC the night before the Georgia-Florida game in like 2008
You got Malcolm.
or 9.
You got Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell up there doing the duck walk.
What's his fucking name?
Malcolm and Angus Young.
Yeah. Angus Young is the more famous of, like, he's the one who's going.
Yeah. And then of course Malcolm Gladwell is in the back saying, "These guys have hit their 10,000 hours."
I actually got this entire concept of the 10,000 hour things wrong, but I'm going to be on stage, making sure everybody understands.
Yeah, but
Just
then
how smart I actually am.
And then he's taking everyone to party on Epstein's plane afterwards.
And then he's jerking and sucking things he shouldn't be on Epstein's plane.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Malcolm. You burnt.
You're done.
We cooked you.
We cooked you. Anyways.
The AC/DC was incredible. They were like 60-something. They still had it.
That's awesome.
Angus Young was going wild on stage.
Iggy Pop.
Yeah.
Classic rock.
Yeah,
Sure, the Stooges. David Bowie.
But
I would have killed to see David Bowie. Neil Young. I wish I had seen. I think he was here last year in Los Angeles, California, and I didn't. I think because I was like, he's so old. I don't want to pay $200 to go see this, and I kind of wish I had seen it. I love Neil Young so much. He's going ape shit on the guitar. He can barely play the thing.
Really?
His guitar solos are all fucked up. But that's
from
like
a
what's
music?
so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just not like slamming around on the scale and just. He's not doing like Jimmy Page. He's like, it's something fucked up and raw and wrong about it, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I love Southern Man. I love Cortez the Killer.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the solo on Southern Man is insane.
Yeah, it's like
it seems like he just went in blind and had never improvised a guitar solo before.
Yeah.
Not a bad musician. Not saying he's bad at it, but it just seemed like he was like, you know what I've never done? Let me just give it a whirl.
Yeah.
And it's something about it.
It's kind of fucking like
I just don't
chunking out. It's like,
give a shit.
yeah. Yeah.
And then Jeff Tweedy used a lot of that on A Ghost Is Born by Wilco.
Okay, now we're in the future a little bit.
I know, but we're seeing the lineage.
Yes.
We're seeing the influence. Neil Young in 1960 whenever doing Southern Man. Jeff Tweedy, mentally ill, addicted to pain pills. It connects with him.
Yes,
and it saves him.
Yes.
He gets clean after that record.
Which you would say another thing you like about classic rock, it seems, is that it birthed, it gave rise to so much of the music, the fucked up alt music that the kind of guys like us like.
That's right. That's right.
And probably like you.
Because we have the camera, we're looking at it so much.
What? It's been 3 times, 4 times.
I'm looking at it all the time.
Really?
B,
I'm a natural on camera. I know that I'm talking not only to you, but to my friends.
To the viewer at home.
To my friends and the people who support me watching, listening.
Sure. At home. Some of them maybe on the freeway, in light traffic, watching on their iPhone.
Yeah.
At a red light, perhaps.
I know those people are going to get home and they're going to mail me dollars. They're going to mail me.
Right. They have your home address. We'll put it at the end of the episode. We'll put up Tom's home address.
Yes.
But only mail him dollars.
Yes. And
Nothing bad.
You can mail me cash. And that's mailbox money.
And that's on God.
That's on God.
That's on baby.
What was I saying though? Oh yeah. It classic rock gave rise to all the fucked up music that we like.
And that's good. I like that. Yes.
To stupid, if not 4/4, if they wouldn't have written so much music in 4/4, then
how could Geddy Lee have ever written songs in 11/3?
Yeah.
How could we have Battles making guitars sound like computers?
Yeah.
If not for the Beatles making them go reverse sometimes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Who would I give my $15 to at a bar in Chicago? I've lost my train of thought. I was trying to talk about giraffes.
Oh,
$15
you know what's funny is I
that.
immediately thought of giraffes. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You gave almost no information, but I think I was trying to figure out where the fuck you were going with this.
Yeah, I paid $15 at Quincher to see him at Quincher's in Chicago, and there were like maybe less than 100 people in the audience, but you know.
That venue is now a children's dentist
really
shop.
Kids
Office.
should have to go to the same dentist as adults.
You should be able to, if you can work on little teeth, you can work on big teeth and vice versa.
They should be in the dentist's office having to listen to classic rock,
but you know
just
what
like the rest of us.
And you know what they're probably playing over the speakers in the children's dentist office.
Fucking Nala's Love Pangs.
Nala's Love Pang. Yeah, you feel the love tonight.
By classic rocker Elton
John. I one time had to, there was some Second City horse shit where I had to, whoever the audience suggested, I had to do an impression of them immediately.
Yeah.
Me, don't really think of myself as an impressionist at all.
Yeah.
Said I don't want to do this, but somebody had to do it, and I was somehow I was the best candidate. And I got thrown into it, and I could not, they said Elton John, I had to come out from backstage as Elton John, could not think anything of what Elton John is like, sounds like, all of my knowledge of him evacuated my brain, and the only thing that stayed in place was gay man. And I came out and did I'd say most offensive, cringiest, like, hello!
Jesus.
It feels bad to think about that.
And I bet the audience loved it.
They liked it at first.
Yeah.
And then I could feel that something was wrong. And it wasn't going well.
Yeah.
It might just be that it was corny, but boy. Afterwards, somebody was like, hey, that's not really how he sounds. And kind of made me feel bad about it.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm glad they did, but also I just wish I hadn't done that.
I mean, you're not wrong. Elton John is definitely a very gay guy.
But he doesn't sound like just, American, like, twink.
No, not at all. Not at all. He's British.
He just sounds like a British man.
But he does say stuff like, he has a whole song called The Bitch Is Back. The bitch is back. I don't know if that's how he sounds, but it maybe a little more.
You sounded like a Latvian
better
guy doing an Elton John cover band.
Yeah, I am also a terrible impressionist.
Yes.
As people have probably heard, I think in one of the first couple of episodes I did some of my impressions.
Yeah, if that's an episode that went well.
Yeah.
It went well enough to put out. I don't even remember where that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awful to think about. You know what? Another sort of classic rock cringe moment for me, memory, is I early on was playing music, and was over at this a friend in high school's house, and she played drums and I played the guitar, and she was like the only musician I knew, and we were whatever, let's jam out. I'm so bad at guitar. I know nothing. I cannot figure anything out, but I'm like into Led Zeppelin so hard, I just start trying to figure out Kashmir.
Yeah.
And she's just like kind of wailing on the drums, and I'm doing I can't remember how it goes. Yeah. But you see how I currently can't remember how it goes.
Yeah.
I was listening to it then, and I have the same, recall. I'd like heard it earlier that day, and I could not remember the. And so I'm just for like maybe over an hour. We're just playing the goofed up idea of Kashmir, and then eventually her dad comes down into like the wherever we are in their house, and is so clearly exhausted from me trying to play some fucked up version of Kashmir, and he said, "I don't think that's quite it." Y'all gonna be done soon? And then I was like, I think my mom's coming to pick me up.
That is so demoralizing to hear some man just be like, "You don't have it."
I don't think that's quite it.
I don't think that's it.
Oh, it sucked. I was immediately like, that's like, if you think you're like, I don't know, practicing like a monologue alone in a park or something, and then like you turn a corner and there's just like a dude who's been listening to you. Yeah. Just really go for it for a while. It's just oh, it feels bad to think about.
Yeah.
It was so long.
Damn.
Just sort of the rhythm of it, none of the correct notes.
Yeah. And as a father, as a man, if I heard some kid butchering Kashmir, I worked a fucking 50-hour week. I'm like, coming home after work, I just want to relax. I just want to numb my mind with light beers, watch the game, maybe make love to my wife, and I hear like the fucking neighbor kid,
some dipshit in the basement with my daughter.
Yeah, my daughter.
I'd rather they be fornicating.
Yeah. Like just, my daughter's laying down a good beat, and this little bastard is like chunking Kashmir. I'd go down, I'd put an end to that, and I'd consider that a service.
He let it go for so long.
I might even call their parents and be like,
"Hey, don't bring him back over here."
Hey, no, I would just say like, "Hey, you need to play more Zeppelin for your son.
Or you need to get him better guitar lessons."
Yeah.
The guitar lessons I got were all fucked up. It's not my fault I'm a bad musician. I eventually was a bit better, and I think if I played guitar today if I played more guitar, I'd still be pretty good. But I was all fucked up because I got a guitar teacher who just taught us, here's how you do fucking Smoke on the Water, and just is all the classic rock hits. He just kind of fed us that, didn't teach us really anything about how the guitar works, how to organize your thinking about it so that this sort of non-linear scale like system, like make it these 5 strings it's not obvious like where to go if you want to hit a note.
No, guitar is a fucked up instrument.
It's tough. And then I went directly from that to a guy who was like, because I was like, I want to finally get good, I want to get a real music a guitar teacher, and I went to a guy who made me try to learn to sight read sheet music for songs. One of the first things he had me do was read the sheet music to Stairway to Heaven. And I'm like, this is miserable.
Yeah, man. I'm not trying to learn. I'm not trying to get perfect pitch here. I'm trying to rock some socks. I'm trying to blaze some faces.
God, my mom picked me up and dropped me off at this Yahoo's apartment every week, and she had to be bored to death by him talking about Jimmy Page or some shit. I remember one time he told her like, she was dropping me off, picking me up rather, and he just went into like some fucking weird monologue about how I'm not jealous of Jimmy Page. I'd rather have this life than that. Like, or those guys were drinking and fucking their lives up so hard, but I'm so happy that I'm a guitar teacher. And it's like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Why are you talking about this?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then I just remember seeing my poor mom be like, captured by this idiot. And I didn't learn anything about guitar. I didn't get any better.
Yeah.
I could kind of learn to read. I kind of learned to read sheet music, but that's not even what I just thought I had to do that to be a good musician.
No way.
It
Jimi
fucking
Hendrix
sucked.
famously didn't know how to read music.
It was so stupid. I just needed somebody who could understand how to communicate to a kid. I just needed somebody to get through to me.
You look legitimately sad.
I'm so
you look
sad.
Very forlorn about it.
It was so much of my life, so many hours, so much time. It's the 10,000 hours, but it's not guided towards the correct thing.
Yeah.
So it was just, what the fuck? I was just so confused for so long.
Yeah.
With other people would be incredible guitar. I'm like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think I just took matters in my own hand, just played a lot more and got, I don't know, good enough to like write some kind of song.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were incredible, but if you're listening to the podcast, you've probably heard one of them.
Laser Monster.
Laser Monster.
Yeah, that was cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I just got really so sad about how I could have been a classic rock god.
It's okay.
But they lied to me.
Yeah.
The old men were bad.
Yeah, you got a bad old man who ruined your life.
And they're all bad. Old men guitar teachers,
Yeah.
bad. Those are bad guys.
I had a middle-aged guitar teacher. He was pretty good. He just let me do whatever I wanted, and then was also like, "You should check out more Blue Oyster Cult, man." He loved Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah, I learned. Yeah, Don't Fear the Reaper.
Sure.
Godzilla.
Sure.
He was into like the deeper cut.
You said
Blue Oyster
Godzilla,
Cult,
and
yeah.
I thought of Brain Stew by Green Day, I think, which is on the Godzilla from 2001 soundtrack.
You bringing up the Godzilla 2001 soundtrack, you're reading my fucking mind, man, because when you were talking about Kashmir, the first time I heard Kashmir
Is that on that soundtrack?
So here's the kicker. So it's on that soundtrack, and as a kid I was like, what is this song? But it was a Puff Daddy song. Puff Daddy raps over it.
Right!
It's a song called Come With Me, and I was like, holy fucking shit, this song rules. I was like 12 or 13.
Godzilla's going crazy in the background.
Godzilla's like, yeah, and he's like, come with me, and it's like, and Jimmy Page.
That's right, he's in the music video.
The guitar, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like chunking Kashmir, down, 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 and I was like, this is awesome. And then my dad, I think, like heard it, and he was like, oh yeah, that's Kashmir. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, it's a Led Zeppelin song. And that's what got me into, that's like one of the things that got me into classic rock. I love the song.
Tough.
Yeah, Kashmir is sick. So when that's why it's like when you were talking about butchering it, I was like, yeah, that would piss me off.
Yeah.
I love it so much. That's a song I would
so
defend.
much. You started liking the P. Diddy version of it.
Yeah, which it was a good version.
Yeah, it's just the guitar riff.
Unfortunately, the P. Diddy version was awesome.
Sorry.
Now that we have hindsight, knowing how bad of a guy he was.
And I'll say this, I just know that he's a bad guy and vaguely what he did. I don't really know how bad of a guy he is, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, that's good.
I don't really want to be thinking about it much at all.
You don't have to. Jimmy Page also probably, he's a weird guy.
Is he? I know nothing about him other than he's kind of a nerdy. He seems like a nerdy guy who wishes he was a wizard.
Very, very famously into the occult. I don't think he's like he definitely messed around. He had like a 14-year-old girlfriend at one point.
Oh!
And everybody was
That's
just
why
like,
he and P. Diddy
that's
linked up.
Jimmy, that's Jimmy. Yeah. So, bad guy in a lot of respects, but I don't think he was like P. Diddy level. Anyway, those bad guys made some great music.
Those bad guys made some great music.
Well, and
that's the name of the classic rock doc that we're going to be producing this fall. Those bad guys made some great music. From
it does.
Tom and Griffin Podcast Studio Film Productions.
It does suck. Like, I get it, but it does suck that nowadays, like, we just have to, like, when you say I like this person, you also have to acknowledge that you know that they're bad. When it's like, we should just assume that everybody knows that most of the people who made music they like or good art are bad, and only when they're like, oh, actually a very good person.
Right.
And actually a very good person. Like, oh yeah, that is nice.
You can kind of get away with it with like music. You can be like, Michael Jackson, love the music. It is lame that not, I don't know if it's lame, but it's just, it seems like he was likely quite a bad guy.
Yeah.
And that has to be said every time that you hear Thriller. And it's like, yeah, well, we all know. But you can't really do that for, I'm trying to think like comedy. I don't think it works for comedy that
No,
way.
there are
you
some
can't be
comedians
like,
who are like,
man, I really love Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I know he's a bad guy, but like, I'm still listening to my brother Russell, whom I slept with. I can you can turn on Thriller and listen to it, and it's like doesn't feel as weird. But something about listening
or watching
to
like the Cosby Show or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, people still love the Cosby Show.
I guess
just with hindsight, watching, you're like, man, that guy. It makes everything his wholesome persona seem a lot less wholesome.
Do you think there's people out there who's like still showing their kids like, here's Bill Cosby, here's one of the best comedians of all time?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think there's new kids coming out today that are being given Bill Cosby himself?
Yeah, probably.
That seems goofy.
Well, that's the world. Well,
you can do that, but my point being, you can do that with music easily. You can just put it on. The music's awesome. You don't have to like. I feel like with Bill Cosby, you have to be like, hey, this is funny, but also something about it seems like I would have to kind of contextualize it for the child more than like, I'm going to put on Led Zeppelin and there's some rumor about them like, I don't know. Like,
fucking some woman with a fish.
Fucking a woman with a fish.
Yeah,
I was going to say putting a
crazy
fish
like that.
Yeah. I don't got to tell the kid that, but something about like Bill Cosby, I don't know. It seems...
It would be so funny. I'm sitting your kid down and be like, listen, this is some good music. This is what I grew up with. I will say contextually, what you have to understand about these guys, they were rock and rollers, okay? They were doing a lot of bad stuff. And the lead singer at one time took a fish and he put it in a woman's vagina. Like trying to explain and be like, I'm telling you this because I want you to know not to do that.
There are absolutely parents who have done this.
Yeah.
I want you to know that's not the right way to be.
No, yeah. These guys are... My parents would sometimes do that if I was about to watch a movie, and they'd be like, now, we think this movie is entertaining, but they're about to do some bad things that you should not. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. This is a movie. I'm not an idiot.
Yeah. The movie's telling me they're bad.
Yeah. When I have a kid, I'm absolutely, turning on blasting Ted Nugent for him. That's a guy who's like, yeah, I know he's bad. I love his music. I know it's about bad stuff.
You love his music. You're
Ted Nugent. Yeah.
I think we talked about this.
Yeah, Ted Nugent.
I only know Cat Scratch Fever, and I can't imagine listening to anything past that. And I can't imagine even listening to that.
Yeah, Cat Scratch Fever. You got Great White Buffalo. That's my favorite. Great White Buffalo.
If he was in town, would you go see him?
No, because he is...
He's a lunatic.
He's vile, but his music is so good. His early music is so good.
I'm trying to think if I got anything.
Even
like
Jailbait. Jailbait is it's a despicable song.
Never heard it, but I could guess.
Despicable lyrics. Incredible song.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Stranglehold.
Okay.
I mean, those are Stranglehold, Great White Buffalo. All. He makes great, and he like.
Damn.
His persona was really cool too. His like on stage, his fashion. He was legit.
I know nothing of it.
Him, Thin Lizzy wasn't bad though. Thin Lizzy, cool.
Don't know a song?
Boys Are Back in Town.
Oh, that's Thin Lizzy?
Yeah.
That's good.
And Jailbreak, which is also another good Thin Lizzy song. Dancing in the Moonlight.
Okay.
All great Thin Lizzy songs.
Nice. I think you're more of a classic rock guy than I am.
Yeah, 100%.
I was going to say the Grateful Dead. I was trying to say, I guess, are they classic rock?
Yeah, Grateful Dead, absolutely.
They're not rock. Just like in a different world?
I'm standing up to shut the door because my wife, Jordan, is in the other room and we're probably...
She shouldn't have to be subjected to this?
Yeah, she shouldn't be subjected to this. Okay. Whoops. Ooh. That's a treat for the viewers. I don't know how to sit in a chair. Okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I just like... The audio changed a little bit in my headphones.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. You don't like any classic... You don't like a lot of classic rock.
Rolling Stones, bored, bad. The Doors, bored, bad. Something about both of those seems like janky, doofy fucking songwriting. I don't know. I don't know why I'm associating the two of them. I don't really ever listen to them, but I think they just seem like the most boring version of it. I don't know. If I got the Who and Led Zeppelin that I can be rocking out with, and you're gonna make me listen to fucking Satisfaction. Yeah, give me.
Well, give me Shelter is killer. Give me Shelter, Sympathy for the Devil.
I don't know why. Something about it just doesn't do it for me.
Okay.
It doesn't fucking grab me.
I like the Rolling Stones. I'm not gonna go to bat for them. You know.
The Doors. I don't think either of us are going to go to the bat for. You hate the Doors, right?
No, I like the Doors. I just hate Jim Morrison.
Oh.
I hate the idea. I hate what he represents and who he was.
Because he thought he was God?
Because he thought he was God.
Or something?
Yeah, he thought he was God. He just was a strange man, and everybody in LA loves him.
Everybody in LA loves him.
Everywhere you go, there's like a mural of Jim Morrison, and people are like, Jim Morrison ate here. Jim Morrison, this is where Jim Morrison got fucked up once.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool. He seemed like a nightmare to be around. Like, even more so than other classic rock guys. It's like Jim Morrison probably didn't treat people the best, but like on top of that, just was probably obnoxious to hang around. Like,
yeah,
like,
I'm assuming all these guys are kind of obnoxious.
Hey, I love your song. And he's like, well, actually, I'm inhabited. I absorbed the spirit of a dead man that I saw on the side of the road. And like, I am the Lizard King.
Oh, God.
And I've like transcended, reality. And you're just like, shut the fuck up, man. Just like.
Something about it seems like pretentious guys, classic rock.
Yeah.
It's somehow I have a view to the other world, the true, shape of life that you don't quite get.
Yeah, cool,
and that's who listens to, in college, the guys who are obsessed with the Doors are the guys who are cranking weed and acid and, they're trying to, trick women to sleep with them and playing them the Doors all the goddamn time.
Cool. It's nice that you can do acid all day. I have sociology to attend.
I have to go get a C+ in anthropology because I haven't been studying, but I need it to pass. I need it so I don't get kicked out of the school.
Yeah. Some guys actually like college and want to get their degree and are going to be proud of it.
They want to get their C+.
Yeah.
They're They don't want to just not show up to class ever.
I need to get my broadcasting degree so I can become a UX writer. And so have fun with your little Dark Side of the Moon and Maui Wowie. I've got a package. I've got a local news package.
I'm sorry, I have to read 100 pages a day of Gabriel Garcia Marquez's 100 Years of Solitude. I can't be balls deep in a bong load every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because then I can go tour for the Second City in about 6 years for $300 a week. That's my. Yeah, that's. I gotta focus up so I can achieve that goal.
Yeah. That's why I can't be listening to King Crimson on LSD or the Doors. Yeah, I love the Ray Manzarek on the organ. Like, the music of the Doors is awesome.
Sure, don't know.
I just, immediately, anytime people around here start idolizing Jim Morrison, I'm just like, brain turns off, start thinking of stuff that I like, Instead, I'm in the forest, Someone's like, oh, but Jim Morrison, he's just such a, I'm walking on the beach with my old dead dog from childhood,
That's such a funny image of anytime somebody brings up something that is boring to you, you just, I'm on the beach with
Butler.
Pork chop. Oh,
Butler. Yeah, that's what meditation has done for me.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
I got to get something like that.
Yeah.
I just quit listening and think about what I want to try to say that's interesting to get us back onto something that I like to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
I do think your hatred of the Beatles is funny, and I think everyone's going to be mad if we don't talk a little bit about the Beatles. Or
I guess we forgot to talk about the Beatles.
That's okay. What you hate them?
I really used to. I don't know if it still gets the blood boiling. Yeah, I hated the Beatles. I hated the idea that everything comes from the Beatles. It's oh well, that's the Beatles influenced all of pop music. Shut up.
Yeah, there's
nothing about the noise band Lightning Bolt. Fuck off. That's not related to the Beatles. And you can make some weird argument. It was like, yeah, but nobody had ever done fucking Revolution Number 9 noise fucking experiment thing, and that opened the door for. No, it didn't. Shut up. They did some fun stuff. They had mostly they had whatever his name is, who at their producer, who did all the cool producing stuff.
Oh yeah.
Made it sound, innovative and crazy. And I'm sure they were innovative and whatever songwriting, but it just.
Yeah.
I just was so exhausted by it. It seems like if you're listening to music anytime after the Beatles, surely they're influential. I get it. By the time I'm going back, I can't be obsessed with the Beatles. I don't know why everybody is, because I've heard it. I've heard versions of it before.
Yeah.
I've also heard stuff that is so much different and so much cooler.
Yeah.
That fucking 4 adults singing what's effectively children's television theme songs isn't that interesting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude, this is why I wanted to get to the Beatles, because I think how much
we all live in a yellow submarine.
Yeah.
Eat fucking shit. I want to hear Tom York sort of vibrate because he's singing about a baby clone.
I really
that's weird.
Yeah. I do like the Beatles music that's whimsical. That's what I like about it. They have so much whimsy to it. They got Octopus's Garden, Rocky Raccoon.
Right. That was, so for me it was
Buffalo or Bungalow Bill. Hey, Bungalow Bill.
It was Old MacDonald.
Yeah.
Then it was Lion King soundtrack exclusively.
Yeah.
Then it was the Beatles.
Yeah, I did love Yellow Submarine as a kid.
Then I graduated kindergarten. I had to go an extra grade between kindergarten and first grade, but then by the time I got to first grade, I don't care about the Beatles anymore. Mm-hmm. Then everybody's coming online in 8th grade, we're all finding out about our own music tastes, and somehow from then through college, I got to hear some jackass yap about how incredible John Lennon is.
Yeah. It is. Talking to a Beatles guy is really annoying. I really liked the Beatles growing up, then I stopped liking them, and I came full circle around recently and was like, actually, I'm not going to shit on them. I'm not going to worship them, but I can just enjoy their music for what it is, which is fun. Yeah. And I know I like Sgt. Pepper's. I will say this is that I do like the Beatles as well, because there was a great Beatles cover band I saw a lot in college, and they were really fun. And also, one time I had just started dating a woman in college, and we went to see Across the Universe, which was that musical. It was a musical movie with I forget who the guy was, but then Evan Rachel Wood was in it too. Sorry. And I was like, whoa, she's a total babe. And so
the Beatles are cool.
Yeah, the Beatles are cool. But here's the kicker. I saw the movie with this girl on our second or third date, and afterwards I got a blowjob. And so I was
this makes more sense.
The Beatles, they're all right with me.
Yeah,
if this is going to happen when I listen to the Beatles, I think I'm going to buy a few records.
One instance, you got immediate Pavlovian response training. Every time you hear Sgt. Pepper, you're like, she's got to be somewhere nearby.
She's got to be somewhere, yeah.
She's got to be nearby. She's probably going to come in here and suck my dick right now. Probably, based on how I learn.
Yeah, exactly. based on
how I learn.
Based on how I learn as a college kid. Well, if I hear the Beatles, then I'm gonna get a blowy. I'm gonna get some dome.
I had some other shit. I don't know. I have some respect for the Beatles. I am not going to deny that. It's not like there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I'm not a fool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that. It just never had any bite or edge to me. And maybe there's songs of the Beatles and something about them that does have that, but it just never felt as angry or strange to me as other stuff that I ended up liking. I was like, I'm also saying this, and like while I'm like seething, like, you know, hatred for the Beatles, I'm fully obsessed with Sublime, Real Big Fish, eventually Modest Mouse. Who am I? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm clearly a jackass. But it was stuff that not everybody was listening to, and I think I was, for whatever reason, so programmed, or had programmed myself somehow to be such a, you know, go against the grain. Punk rock is awesome. Being a contrarian is important. Mindset. So I didn't care for the Beatles.
Well, if you had to pick one Beatles song that you kind of like.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Okay.
I think that was the first one I heard that I was like, this doesn't put me to sleep. This is actually kind of moving me. This is kind of rocking for me.
Yeah.
Softly Weeps, Gently Weeps.
Gently Weeps.
What if you had to pick one Beatles song that you can kind of tolerate? What is it?
Oh, I like With a Little Help from My Friends.
Sure.
That's a Ringo song.
Sure.
Wow,
Ringo.
Yeah, they
Good
wrote
job,
the
Ringo.
song for Ringo.
They needed
they were
to
like,
give him
he's got they were trying to give him a song because he was a bad singer.
I think I've said this to you before, but I was thinking a while back, like, do you think that ever Paul McCartney's kind of like just going about his life, and then like something, you know, maybe he checks social media, something about Ringo pops up, and he kind of sits and thinks to himself like, why him? I'm left. There's two of us left. I'm stuck. I'm here with Ringo is the one that's still alive.
Oh, I think
it could have been John. It could have been George. They got taken away, and I'm left on Earth with Ringo.
Oh, I think Paul may be glad that John Lennon is dead because he seemed like he might be a hard guy to like be around all the time.
George, did he like George?
Yeah, George
seems like the most likable one.
Yeah, but then then you got. But I think he's fine. I think Paul McCartney's probably like, yeah, Ringo's he's gonna do himself.
I wonder if they're I wonder about their contact. I wonder if they're pals. How much do they talk? Do they ever? I know nothing about it.
I don't know.
You know, that's not interesting to
you.
I
don't know. There's something that's interesting about that to me. They're probably going to be cordial, but it's also like, how much do I talk to my old coworkers? Like none.
I guess that's different, though.
Yeah. If I was in a band with someone, but the crazy thing is they're only a band for like under 10 years, which is wild.
Right.
That's like the wildest Beatles fact I know.
I just like that we got something about the image of Paul McCartney just being like, they left me with the clown. It's really, there's got to be a moment that has happened in his life where he's, maybe not, maybe that's just cruel.
And maybe when he was at George Harrison's funeral.
And Ringo's likable. He's a goon, but he's likable. He seems like if he hadn't done the Beatles, he would have founded Burning Man.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you just say?
Oh, I was going to say Paul McCartney probably at George Harrison's funeral was like, they left me with the clown, or you left me with the clown. I could see him crying over George Harrison's body and being like, you left me with the fucking clown.
I'm imagining the scene from The Matrix where Agent Smith has Morpheus and he's like pushing into his head and he's like sniffing the sweat, and you know, that's Ringo's just kind of sitting there going, and Paul McCartney's like, I don't want to be with these people anymore. But it's about Ringo.
Yeah.
Well,
that was.
Thank you so much for
funny
listening.
Image. Wow, that was a funny image to think of.
Wow, we started with an image, and I guess we're ending on an image because now we've got video.
Yeah, we've got video. We really got to do it. We said this at the end of the last bad episode, but we really got to do a classic rock part 2 because we didn't get to Pink Floyd.
Sure.
I love talking.
What's there to say?
Well,
say it quick.
I love Pink Floyd. Everything, great. All their albums, so good.
Do you think we need a whole second podcast about it?
Yeah, just to talk about Pink. We could do.
Jesus, I could barely talk about this. That was effort. Okay.
I could talk about classic rock for hours.
If you want to hear that, go ahead and get on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcast Section Zone, or wherever you get your podcasts, and go to the reviews and say, I want to hear them talk about Pink Floyd more.
Yeah, or comment.
Don't review the podcast at all, but you do have to give it 5 stars so that we will see it. Otherwise, we will not see.
We won't see
request.
anything that's under a 5-star review. So that's why it has to be 5 stars, and you have to say Classic Rock Part 2, just Pink Floyd. And then if we get 3 of those,
we'll do it. I'll do it for
Griffin will agree to do it.
That's probably a majority of the listeners. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll even study up. That's not an interest. I don't know. That's not a selling point. All right. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goober Time is produced by me, Griffin, and Lauren Talmadge. Executive produced by Tim McGower. Associate producer Ahmed Stork, and aspiring producer Little Jimmy Penn. Goober Time is engineered by Roger Goodrich and recorded at Detweiler Sound in Humboldt, Tupelo, Mississippi. Sound mixing by Reed Armband with music by Laser Monster, which is Griffin in the past. You can check it out at lasermonster.bandcamp.com. Tom's costume was provided by Padma Lakshmi with catering provided by Kokomo's Mungo Lounge. Kokomo's, if you can't take her here, you can't take her anywhere.